Okay, quick recording, hopefully, showing you how to do a custom SAML single sign-on into AWS without using the gallery application. Whilst I just mute my notifications. I've created a custom one here just to show you how it works. Click test here, and it will single sign on into AWS Management Console, and you can see it's coming in as Bob at Bob. I don't really care what it's sending, and it's sending the role as admin. And it's doing that because my role here is admin. I'm using the AWS custom SAML provider, which it trusts, and I'm sending Bob at bob.com. Okay, so how did I get here? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back, and we're just going to go add a new application, and we're going to go non-gallery application. We're going to call this AWS SSO. I don't care what it's called, but let's call it AWS SSO. We'll click add. It'll take a second, maybe. It's still adding it. There we go. Well, that took a little bit longer. Okay, so we're going to say enabled for all users to sign in. We don't need to assign it to a user. It's visible to users. So we'll click save on that. Single sign-on. We're going to do SAML single sign-on. The identifier is HTTPS sign in. I suppose I'd better actually make sure I copy and paste it correctly. I'm going to go to the AWS page. So sign in. Paste that in there. This is number 3, so it's got to be unique. The reply URL should not include the hash. This just enables me to have unique identifiers within Azure AD. Okay. Edit these. I'm not interested in any of these other variables, so I'm going to delete these. You don't need to delete them, but the only thing that needs to be there, and indeed Azure will not allow you to delete it, is the claims name identifier. That's the name ID that's going in your assertion. But AWS doesn't actually care about that. What it cares about are these ones. The role session name and the user assigned roles. Okay. Now, generally, you would configure those. To pull attributes out of out of your Azure AD, and I'm not going to do that. So we're going to say role session name. I'm going to go marquee at marquee.com because we don't actually care. If you type it in there, see below it puts it in quotes. If we just press enter, it'll automatically add it with quotes, and therefore it is now a statically assigned variable rather than statically assigned attribute rather than a variable pulled out of AWS Azure directory. And the second one we need, we're just going to paste the namespace URL in here. Oh, my bad. Role and namespace is this. Okay, now the attribute that we want to send on in this case and I'll show you where to get these in a second. Again, we're just going to press enter and we're going to statically assign these and we're going to click save. Okay, so this is the role that my tenant ID, my role that AWS is going to expect to see, and the SAML provider that AWS is going to expect to see. So let's go ahead and jump into the AWS console now. We're going to go to Identity and Access Management and roles. So the first thing here, I've got an admin role. This here is the ARN, my tenant ID, and the role name admin. This is what I'm going to map my user to. He needs to be an administrator. And the reason it's going to be an administrator is because he's done single sign-on against this ARN, which is the SAML single sign-on. So we're going to have a look in here. I've got an identity provider. I've got the ones I've already configured, but I'm going to create a new identity provider, SAML identity provider. And what did I say I was calling this? AWS SSO. And what I need to do, I come back to AWS SSO over here. Come on. Azure seems to be running a little slow this morning. Okay, so all of that's now configured, and I just need to download my federation metadata. It's called AWS SSO, and choose the file, AWS SSO, and it'll upload it, and we create it. Okay, all good. So here's my AWS SSO. Here is the ARN for that. So I'm going to copy that to the clipboard, save me typing it back in. But this ARN and the role ARN need to be in this. Okay, and generally this would be done programmatically. So I can come in here and I can go roles. Here is my admin role. And it has a trust relationship, and so what I want to do is it needs to trust, to assign a user to this role, it needs to trust the ARN for the SAML. So I'm going to just add this new one, which is the one I've just created, update trust policy, and it's done. So any user that's authenticated against any of these can then be assigned the admin role. So I come in here, and you think this is all kind of done, and I said, oh, I don't need to assign the user the application. If I come over to my Safari and refresh this, you'll see it doesn't actually exist here, which is a pain. And the reason for that appears to be I actually need to click a test and sign in as the current user. That will pass everything through. With a bit of luck, I've done it right. And now I am Marky at marky.com. And if I come, this one then said, oh, hang on, you've logged out because it's changed my credential, which is good. If I come over to here now and I refresh this page, with a bit of luck, well, I didn't seem to like that, so let's go ahead and go in here and add a user. Let's just add it manually. And we can now add it to Mark Ryan. Sign the application. And let's try refreshing this now. Well, it didn't like that either. So what we're going to do is we can say provisioning, no, not probably, self-service, allow users to access it. I don't need approval. And I'm going to say, we're going to put it to a group called test group. So any user that self-assigns it will get the application and click save. We'll come back to our Safari browser. Let's click refresh, just double check. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sign out and just sign back in again. just to go to myapps.microsoft.com. It'll sign me in. I just want to see whether or not it just goes and adds it afterwards. No, it hasn't done that. So let's go add an app. And this is my new one. We'll click add it here. I think it's just a timing, how long it takes for the applications that you create to suddenly appear. And even though I've added AWS SSO, it doesn't seem to appear here. So it's all quite. I think there's just some kind of something in the back end with Microsoft trying to get a decision on how it places that, how it just assigns those users. I think the portal is separate. So let's go ahead and close those out. It should have decided it was going to add me to it. Because you can see these other ones that I've added are there. Let's try add it again. Add. You see it kind of added it and then took it away again. Bizarre. But we can take the login URL here and we should be able to just go direct to it. Well, we know it works. We know it works, and now it doesn't seem to want it. That's the one I want. I just go back to my apps, just double check. It still doesn't seem to want to added it, but I can go direct to the application that way and sign in. And away we go. So all looking good. I now get the single sign-on.